Okay.
Hello, Dolores.
Hello, Lilu.
How are you doing today?
Well, we're getting ready for the holidays, but I don't know when this is going to air. It may air after Christmas.
It's going to air very shortly. Actually, tomorrow it'll be already online on YouTube, all over the place. Our last video, Dolores, had over 82,000 views. I know a lot of people are watching, will be watching this video all around the world, so I'm very excited, and I feel this is important information to get out. I know you have a latest book, another book that just came out. Is that your number 16 or 17?
17 books now.
Woohoo!
This is the first time I've written 2 books in 1 year. And I was spent the last 5 months traveling all over the world and doing my classes and lecturing. And during any spare time I had at all, it was back at the hotel room working on that book. And so we were sending it chapter at a time back to the office to get it ready. So my whole time has been working. This is my only downtime, my relaxing time is since I got back for the holidays.
Yeah, and you've
But we
been
got it. Convoluted 4. It just came out last week, so that's 2 books in 1 year.
amazing, and you've been traveling all around the world. You have all this energy to write more books and to travel and teach people. Where do you find all this juice from?
Well, it's the way, it's my work. That's what I do, because I'm also, I'm teaching everyone.
Yeah.
Have classes everywhere. And in February, I go to China. I'll be doing a class in Shanghai. So that's why in another month I'll be on the road again.
So tell us, I want to discuss one of your latest book, not the very latest, because I didn't have time to talk about it, but you can let us know more about it. But I wanted particularly to talk about the different waves of volunteers and the new earth. And I would like to start this conversation by asking you, how do you define the new earth?
Okay, I just spent 2 hours on the radio yesterday, and that was what I talked about at that time. In my lectures, too, that I've been doing all over the world, we have been focusing on the 3 waves and the new earth. Okay, the earth it's going to separate into the old earth and the new earth. This is the same thing that's in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, where it talks about the new heaven and the new earth. That's what it means. The only problem is whenever John wrote the book of Revelation, he had the vision out on the Isle of Patmos about that, the new heaven and the new earth. He didn't know it was going to be thousands of years before it would happen. But the earth is a living being. You know that. Everything has consciousness. Everything is alive. The earth is a living being. And it is getting ready to go into its new incarnation. And it has incarnations just like people do. It just takes it longer to do it. But it's getting ready to move into another dimension. And in order to do that, it has to change its vibrations and its frequencies to shift into another dimension. Now, it's going to do it regardless. But if we want to go with it, we have to change our vibrations and our frequencies also in order to move with the earth. It doesn't care if we go or not. It would be just as happy if we didn't go. But look what we're doing to this beautiful planet. We're like fleas on a dog. It would much rather we didn't go. But if we do want to go with it, we have to change our vibration and frequencies to match it so that we can move into the other dimension. This is a very exciting time to be alive. This is a very momentous occasion. This is the only time in the history of the universe that an entire planet has moved into another dimension. We go back and forth between dimensions all the time, but this is the first time that an entire planet is going to move into another dimension. So it's a very exciting time for the whole cosmos, and they're watching all of this. They're trying to see, if they say it's the greatest show on earth, can we do it? Are we going to be able to pull it off?
Uh-huh. What does the planet need for this birthing to happen?
It's not a reversing, it's a separating.
It's a separation. Yeah, you're one of the person that says it's going to literally separate physically?
Yes. From the old earth and the new earth. And the old earth is where all the violence, the wars, the catastrophes, The negativity is going to be left with the old earth as we move into the new earth. And those that will stay with the old earth are those that are still in negativity, the ones who really don't want to change. And that's okay, because eventually they'll all get there anyway. But they will stay with what they have created. They'll stay with the negativity, while the others are moving with the new earth into this beautiful, wonderful place. But you said you want to know about a timeline?
Yes, that would be great. Yeah.
It started about 2003 when it began to do the changing of the vibrations and the frequencies. And it's happening right now. We're in the middle of it right now. The year 2012 doesn't mean anything really. That date doesn't mean anything. It just means that the energy has been accumulating all these years, so finally the energy will be strong enough in 2012 to finally push it into the next dimension. But it won't be something dramatic like pow and we're there. It's a very gradual process. This is why it was begun in 2003. It has to happen slowly and gradually. If the energy were to shift suddenly, it would destroy the body, because the body couldn't take that strong of an energy. So it has to happen gradually, and that's what it's been doing. And a lot of people out there probably notice that their body is feeling the effects of all of this.
Yeah, tell us about some of those symptoms of how the body is going to physically change or needs to adapt.
Well, it's been happening all along. These are not, it's symptoms that we're noticing, but some people think they're sick and they go to the doctor and the doctor can't find anything wrong with them. But some of the symptoms that people have been noticing over the last few years, remember this is a gradual process, and you don't have all of these symptoms all at one time. You may have a few, then you may go for a week or two and you will have another set of symptoms. So you've got to remember that it's not all going to happen at once. But some of the symptoms that people are reporting to me: high blood pressure, heart palpitations, like AFib, that means an irregular heartbeat. They're reporting that. You can see how this has to do with the changing of the frequencies and vibrations. Also, dizziness, depression, those are big ones that have been happening. They'll be dizzy for several days, and they will have depression, joint aches and pains. And some people talk about they have the ringing in the ears. That is also the adjusting of the frequency. I think those are most of them. But they go to the doctor over some of these symptoms. The doctor can't find anything wrong with them. Of course, they're going to put them on a pill anyway. But there's nothing wrong with them. It's just adapting to the frequency changes.
So do you have some information on 2012 most in particular? Is there a particular significance? Some people say that there is an astrologic alignment between the Milky Way, the Sun, and the Earth. Is there some implication? Is there a turning point there? Or for you, it's just there's nothing really special happening in 2012?
I've heard of the astrological lineup, which is significant. This is why the Mayans mentioned it. But it's going to be on that date. You're going to notice something dramatic. I don't know if you remember, while I was on this trip, it was October the 28th in 2011. Everybody was saying, this is when it's going to happen. This is the real end of the Mayan calendar. They said it's going to be a dramatic shift, and we were going to have 3 days of darkness.
Yes, I remember.
And I said, well, I'm going to be in Australia. We'll find out if anything happens. And, of course, nothing happened. There may have been some kind of subtle changes, which are happening anyway, but there was nothing dramatic. That's the same way it's going to be in December of 2012. The day will come and go, and nobody's going to notice any real difference. But people have asked me, do you have to die to go to the new earth? No, you don't. At first, you will take your physical body with you. But after you're over there for a while, I don't know how long, your body will turn into light, to be a light being. So there are some changes that will happen. But a lot of people, I ask them too, do you notice a change in your diet? A lot of people are noticing they're wanting to eat differently. This has to do with the changing in the vibrations and the frequencies also. The ideal diet that I found in my work is you're supposed to eat vegetables. They say eat live foods. Live foods mean fresh fruits and vegetables. But try to stay away from the heavy meats, like beef and pork. Those are heavy meats. See, in order to go, you're going to have to shift to become, your body has to become lighter. So you have to eat lighter foods. You can't eat heavy foods that will hold you down. That means the heavy meats. You can eat some fish and chicken because that's a lighter type of meat, but not the heavy kind. And to try to stay said to drink lots and lots of water. That's very important if you have the water. There's one little thing in the water that the body has to have to survive. You have to get as much water as you can. But they say eventually, as we get ready to go into the new earth, you'll notice your diets are changing more to liquid. And when I've done radio shows, they'll call in and say, I wondered why I was wanting to start drinking more smoothies, because this is the changes that are happening in the body.
Do you think that eventually people can live from light, from the prana?
I was just going to say that eventually, after we're over there for a while, you won't eat anything. You'll be living off of light. Now, I had something unusual happen on my trip. I've had some clients who have told me they want to get to where they don't have to eat. And I've been told it is possible. Well, when I was in Sweden on this trip, a woman came up to me and said, as I had mentioned this in my talk, she said, I want to let you to know I have not eaten or drank anything in my entire life. She was a very thin woman, but I got to thinking that it is possible to do that, because I've had clients that said when they were born, they wouldn't nurse, and the doctors had to feed them intravenously because they didn't want to eat anything, consume anything. And during the sessions, we found out it was because they came from other planets originally, where they didn't have to eat. So they, when I was in Sweden, I met her, and then I had to go to India. I had to talk at a large conference in Pyramid Valley. It was the largest man-made pyramid in the world, so they had the conference. And one of the speakers, when I mentioned that, she said she had not had anything to eat since the 1990s. And that she found there are at least 30,000 people all over the world who don't eat anything. They see it's going to eventually be living off of light. This is how the ETs exist. They don't consume anything. They live off of light and the energy like that. And eventually that's what's going to happen when we move into the new earth. There'll be a lot of changes, but it's going to be beautiful. I don't know if taking away food is such a good idea. We do enjoy it.
You can't say that to French people, We love our food.
I know. I don't know if you want to take it away altogether. But there'll be a lot of changes like that, and the body will be healthier. It'll get to the point there'll be no sickness, and you can live as long as you want. This is the way the ETs do. They don't die until they're ready to die, because they have conquered the effects of the body, and that's what will happen in the new earth. So it's an exciting time to be alive.
Are you receiving any more information? Are you still being in contact with light beings? I know you've been really researching UFOs since like 86 or 88.
I don't really get that many cases on UFOs anymore. I did 25 years. I've been a researcher in that, and I've written 4 books on it, and I found the answer to anything anybody would want to know about UFOs. But in the 3 waves, that new book that came out, the 3 waves of volunteers, I have a whole section on UFOs from a different perspective. Because it's a different idea altogether. It's not like people think. But If there's a lot of information in there about some of the volunteers are space beings who have come into a physical body to help the Earth at this time. There's a lot in that book. It is a different perspective, a different way of looking at UFOs.
Mm-hmm. But right now, more and more people seem to have the capacity to channel, do more and more channeling.
Because we get thousands of manuscripts submitted all the time for our company to publish. Because I have my publishing company. And I'm noticing a trend in that way. Everyone is sending me books that they have channeled. So it's either becoming more prevalent or they're getting to the point that they're not afraid to speak out about it. Maybe it's been happening all along and they were afraid to tell anybody. But now we're getting lots of books on this. And it's no longer considered an oddity to be able to channel. And they're all getting the same information. That tells me there has to be a truth to it. If we're all getting the same information. There's no contradiction.
So the communication seems to be more regular, and more people seems to be able to connect and tap into that. So there's really already a shift that is happening.
Easier for them to do it, and I guess they're not so worried about the stigma anymore. What do people think?
Yeah.
It's becoming very common.
What can we do as individuals to kind of upgrade or to be ready for this change or to open ourselves up to more? Because we're still very much anchored, most of us, in the earth, in earthy matter, and there's only what's visible. So is there some things that you recommend to open our minds and hearts?
Well, people keep asking me, what am I supposed to do in order to go with the new Earth? I don't have to do anything. It's happening automatically. That's why it's happening so gradual that people don't even realize it is happening. But there were two things that they said you must do if you are going to go to the new Earth. Because you remember, the old Earth is the wheel of karma. That's what we've been trapped on for all this time, coming back lifetime after lifetime, repaying karma, and we've been trapped in that cycle. So in order to get out of that, because in the new Earth there won't be any karma, in order to get out of that cycle, you're going to have to get rid of karma, because karma pulls you back again and again. When you don't have any karma, you won't have to come back, and you'll be on the new Earth. You won't have any reason, no karma. So they said the first thing you're going to have to do is get rid of karma so that you won't have to come back. Now the way to get rid of that is to let go and to forgive. I call karma the baggage and the garbage that we carry around with us, the junk that we don't need. And it's what makes you sick. But if you don't forgive the people who have hurt you and the people you're angry at, you're going to come back and do the whole thing again with the same people. And I have a lot of clients that say, I don't want that. I want them out of my life. And I said, you better deal with it now, or you have to repeat it. That's the law of the universe. But what I tell people, anybody you're upset with, it doesn't matter if you had a bad childhood. Maybe you had parents that were abusive to you. That doesn't matter anymore. What did you learn from the situation? That's what it was all about. Teaching you something. So what did you learn? And it doesn't matter. You got to let it go, because it does no good to hold on to all that old garbage. You've got to release it and let it go. So what if you had a terrible marriage and your husband treated you badly? What did you learn? Release it and let it go. You have to, or you're going to be condemned to repeat the cycle again and again and again with the same people. So what I tell people to do, they say, well, how can I forgive? They said, you don't know what they did to me. I can't forgive them. But see, that you're only hurting yourself by holding on to it. They said, how can I forgive them? Well, first of all, you can't go to the person. It's too hard to go to them face and face and say, I forgive you. it's much better to do it mentally. Besides, some of the people that you're still angry at have died. So there's no way for you to contact them. But the way I say is to visualize them in your mind, the way that you see them. See that person. Now, I've talked before about when we come into the earth, from the other side, we plan our life. We make our plan of what we hope to accomplish, and we make contracts with all these other souls that are involved. I will play these different parts in your scenario. So you make a contract with these people, then you come in, you forget about it. So you visualize in your mind the person that you've had problems with, the person that you need to forgive. And you say to them, we tried, we really tried, it didn't work. Let's tear up the contract. And see yourself tearing up the contract and throwing it away. Then you mentally say to the person, I forgive you, I release you, I let you go. You go your way with love, I go my way. We don't have to be connected anymore at all. When you do that, it's over. And you will notice a big difference. That even if the person, if you're still around them, if you release them, they can't affect you anymore. You know, just a game with them anyway. They know what buttons to push to get you upset. But if you let them go, release them, it doesn't work anymore. Then they get tired of it, it's boring. But then also you have to forgive yourself. Remember, you have a part to play in all these things too. So you forgive the person and then you forgive yourself. And you've got to really mean this. You have to believe it as you release them, and you also on yourself. That's the most important thing. Then the second thing you have to do, besides forgiving and releasing this person, getting rid of karma, the second thing you have to do is to let go of fear. Fear is the strongest emotion a human has. So you let go of the fear and release it. It can't hold you to the earth. Fear is not real. Fear is an illusion. Fear is for entertainment purposes only. The only thing that's real is love. So you do those two things and work at it, then you release it and you are free to go to the door. Those are the only things you have to do. Work on yourself.
How do you know that the only thing that is real is love?
Because they have told me that many, 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 many times. Everything else is an illusion. Things we set up to learn from. Remember, life is an illusion. Life is a play. All it is just a game, it's just a play. You are the director, producer, actor, and writer in your own play. The only thing is, the script is being written as you go along. So this means you can change that script at any time and make it different. So that's all it is. It's just a play. We get so caught up into it. Now, there is no bad, there is no good. It's only what lessons you have made for yourself to learn from. Everything is energy. That's all it is, energy. And it's what you do with energy. Some people choose to use energy in a negative way. If they do that, then they are creating karma, they're creating all these things for themselves to learn from. Remember, God, the creator, what they call the source, God is total love. He created all of us out of total love. He would not create anything that is evil, anything that is negative. That's what people do. And they do it to learn from. Your video is really bad.
I can see you perfectly, and I'm sure in the recording it should be okay though. Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you, but the screen is mess.
The screen
Okay.
should be okay since the recording is from here.
Understand, that everything is love. That's what Jesus came to teach people. And they didn't understand it and they killed him.
Yeah.
He was trying to teach them how they could get off the wheel of karma and progress upward and through love. And they didn't understand. That's all it's ever been about is love.
So how can we in our daily life create a better life, a more loving life? How can we truly manifest anything that we want? Or are we co-creating, or are we really, there's really a destiny?
Creator, you're not co-creating. This is why, remember I said you're writing your script as you go along in your own play, which means you can change the script at any time. If you don't like the way your life is going, rewrite the script. It's that easy. You create your own reality. You're the one that's in charge. Nobody else is, just you. So you are the creator of your own life, and you can change things if you don't like the way they're going. This is how powerful you are. This is what I was told in my work. The greatest lesson we have to learn when we come to this school we call Earth is how to manipulate energy. Everything is energy. Now, what does that mean? We have to learn to manipulate energy. It means we have to learn to create. We're not victims. You learn how to create your own reality, to create what you want in your life. It's very easy once you learn how to do it. And then nobody can, you are not a victim. You have control over anything you want.
So do you do that through wording, through thoughts? Is there some things that you have learned that helps to manipulate this energy?
You have to believe, you have to trust. First you have to know what it is you want. How you're going to create it if you don't know what you want. Once you know what you want, you can set it into motion. To be able to visualize and see what you want. Make it become alive in your mind. Whatever it is, whatever change, whatever destiny, whatever job, whatever you want, you have to be able to see it in your mind in detail, that it has to become a reality because that's the law of the universe. It's very easy once you figure it out how to do it. And this is the main lesson we have to learn on Earth.
Yeah, I was interviewing, I was in Mexico last month on the Juicy Living tour, interviewing a Mayan descent, and we were talking about lucid dreaming. Is this the only way? Is that what you're referring to here? Or you think by simply being in a quiet space and focusing and visualizing we can achieve it?
Because lucid dreaming you can't control. It just happens.
Well, the idea is to be part of it too and awaken and be conscious within the dream.
Lucid dreaming means when you're having a dream, you become aware that you're dreaming. You can't control that from the time you go to sleep. No, means you control it by meditating. Meditation is the best way to learn how to meditate. Quiet the body, quiet the mind. But if you can't meditate, then just find a quiet spot and visualize what it is you want. What do you want in your life? I have lots of clients that I ask them, they said their life's a mess. And I said, okay, you can have anything in your life, what would you want to create? You can change your life. And some of them say, I don't know. Well, if you don't know, the universe doesn't know. How's it going to give it to you if you don't even know what it is you want? First, you have to know what you want in your life. Be able to see it in your mind in detail. Hear sounds. Make it come alive in your mind. Then release it. And it has to become a reality because it's the law of the universe. This is how we run our company. This is how I run my career. We learn the secret. And it so happens so fast. It is so easy. You have the great power that you don't realize.
Inspiring.
No victim.
Tell us about your latest book, your intentions with it. Why is it coming out now, and what is the focus?
Everybody kept saying, when's it coming out? That's why it came out now. But I have so much information, and everybody kept saying, when's Convoluted 4 coming out? But then when I had all this material, and everybody kept wanting to know about the New Earth, I said, well, I'll pull everything out of the information and create 3 waves as a separate book. I was going to have it in Convoluted 4. So I found all the information about the volunteers and about the New Earth and put that into the 3 waves. I thought it was going to be a smaller book, but it was over 500 pages. Then I said, okay, all the rest I will focus on Convoluted 4. Everybody likes that kind of information. They keep saying, when's the next book coming out? As I began to put it together, it was getting too big. So this is what I was doing on the road. I said, well, I'm traveling, I'm working on that book. And it had to come out by November because the distributor already had all these bookstores that wanted the book, and it wasn't even written yet. So I was doing it under a deadline. So I ended up taking out over 300 pages out of that book. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been done in time, and it would have been over a 900-page book. So I pulled out over 300 pages and then finished Convoluted 4. So now I have enough material for another book, which I'll begin working on as soon as I get rested up after the holidays. Then the Convoluted 4 is about 600 pages. But it has more of these mind-bending concepts. That's what people love. They said, I always tell them that the book is intended for people who want their minds bent like pretzels. Different information, different concepts, different theories. So that's what the Convoluted 4 is about. It has all these strange and unusual concepts in there, which I keep getting more and more of. So there's going to be more and more books.
Can you tell us about some of those concepts and mind-binding thoughts and concepts?
There's a lot in there. I haven't even begun to lecture on that book yet because I just finally got it finished. We've got them all back. We had over 1,000 back orders, and we got all of those out of here. We're getting feedback, and they all think it's just as good as the first 3. And I never know. I'm always saying, will it measure up to the other books? But there is some strange things in there, but some of it is a little too weird to go into.
Okay.
But it makes people think. They write me back and they'll say, I may not understand these things, but at least they make me think. And that's the whole idea. I call it mind candy.
Will they be one of them that comes to your mind, like could be the right time to just speak of a little bit right now?
Well, I'm trying to think. There is just so much because it deals with the DNA, it deals with the changes in the body that are happening now.
Yeah, let's speak about the DNA.
Well, it's also mentioned in the 3 waves, too, is how the DNA of the body is being changed. It has to be changed in order to have the gradual changing in the vibrations and the frequencies. So it's a gradual process, but the DNA has to be changed to store more information and light as we move into this other dimension. So we are going into, I think they said, we're going into the 5th dimension, but they said some people have already gone as high as the 7th dimension. But not very many, because it's too hard for the body to shift that quickly. But it has to do with the storing in the DNA of light and of information to get us through this time. So there are some chapters in there about how the body is doing this and how we're able to change it and how the effects that we're going to notice. Some people have very dramatic effects that they're seeing in their bodies as this happens, and they're not happy with it. Oh, I don't know. There's one concept, but I don't know if it might take too long to explain it. But it's something that I have never heard before. I've only talked about it on one show.
And how did you receive that particular information?
No, it's because it's very very strange concept, and I didn't want to throw it out there because I don't even have all the information. I just wrote what I got on it because it was something I'd never thought about before.
How did you get it? Through other people or through your connection?
Me, nothing comes through me. It all comes from the people I work with, the people I have my sessions with, and all of my work comes through my clients. Nothing comes through me.
As you're doing past regressions and as you're...
I'm doing the therapy
Yes.
I'm a therapist and the counselor with my work.
Yes.
It comes out during the sessions. I'm the reporter, the investigator, the researcher of lost knowledge. I have to take the information and put it together like a puzzle. It doesn't come through just one person. Maybe that's why I'm able to get so much. It'll come through the same story, concept will come through many people. I have to take a piece from all these sessions and then I put it together like a puzzle. And I have a different idea this way. This is a lot different than channeling because channeling is one person. These are thousands of people. And I have to be able to pull one from here and one from there and to get a concept. But the concept was one I'd never heard of before, and I think I'm going to get more information because it's very strange. It's the concept of the backdrop people. And I'd never heard that term before, the backdrop people. This is in convoluted form. For instance, when you're putting a movie together, you have all the extras. They're playing the parts. You have the stars, which are you in your own play. You have the other people who are playing the minor parts. Then you have all the extras that are just walking through the background, the scenery of a movie. Those are what they call the backdrop people. And we all have them in our lives. You go into a crowded airport, a hotel, there's all these people. According to what they told me in the session, is these people are not real. That's why they're called the backdrop people. It's just energy taking forms. And that really made me stop and think, because everything they give me that's new, I have to stop and think and digest it and try to understand it. Because I'm always getting new information anyway. Now, how do I put this into my term of reference? And now every time I'm in a crowded airport or something and I see all these people walking around oblivious to everyone else, I'm thinking what they said, backdrop people. They're not real, they're just background, which is interesting. There's a whole lot of these stories that make you they really twist your mind.
And then what do you do with that?
I write about it.
Yeah.
I try to analyze it, and then I know a little later I'm going to get some more information about it. This has been going on now I've been doing my work for 45 years.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, what I'm getting now, I couldn't have understood 30 years ago. That's why I started the Convoluted Universe series, because there was information in there that I said, wait a minute, I've got this all figured out. I know how all this works. I know how reincarnation works. I've got it all. I understand it. Then they would throw a concept in there that I had never heard. And
that
I said,
changes everything.
I don't want you to rock my boat. I've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
But then I thought, if I didn't at least look at it and examine it, I was no better than the church that says, don't ask questions, just do what we say.
Yeah.
So I had to look at it and examine it. And the more I did, it made sense. Then as soon as I did that, then I'd get another theory and another concept. Because they know they can't give it to you all at once. You have to be given it in little spoonfuls. They said, we'll give you a spoonful, digest it, then give you another spoonful and digest that. They told me one time, you don't give a baby a steak. You give a baby milk, cereal, crushed vegetables. You don't give a baby a three-course meal. That's what they have to do with you. They can't just dump all this information on you. It would be too overwhelming. They give you a little bit, digest it, understand it, then we'll give you a little bit more. So that's what's happening in all of my books. If you read the Convoluted Universe from the beginning, each one gets a little more complicated. At the end of Convoluted 3, I said, well, now I think you've told me everything there is to know. I don't think there's anything left that you can tell me. They said, oh no, there's a lot more, a lot more. And that was the end of Convoluted 3. And it started up again in Convoluted 4. There's even more information, and it's still coming from my clients. So I'm not going to ever run out of books to write. There's too much information.
Oh, yes. How old are you now?
80.
80, yeah. Wow. How are you? How is this affecting?
It's a number.
Yes. How is this affecting? How all this information is affecting your personal life? Do you find that you're more at ease and relaxed, and things that you're just allowing things to happen in your own life, or are you even more observant, or sometimes even worried of things that might be there and present?
You don't worry, you never worry, because you know everything is going the way it's supposed to be going. I trust them. I see the miracles they do in my office every day when they heal people instantly. I have the miraculous things happening all the time, and they take care of me. I don't ever get sick because they said I have a job to do. They take care of me. They keep me healthy, and they said they will always protect me everywhere I have to go. They said if you're not supposed to go somewhere, we won't even allow you to go out the front door. And I know the world is going the way it's supposed to be going, so I don't worry about anything. So it's a lot better way to live, especially if you know you can create your own reality. Why do you want to create something negative? Your mind is so powerful, why not create a positive way to live? Not something negative, because you can have it either way you want. So that's what I do. I try to create what is good and what is positive. And I see it all around now because it's so obvious. Especially when I lecture. We fill the auditoriums now when I lecture anywhere.
I bet.
And you see the changes. All of a sudden, it's like a little light is turned on inside the people. That they get it, they understand it. So I definitely don't worry about anything. I'm going where I'm supposed to be going.
Wonderful.
2012 is already booked all over the world again.
Well, I look forward to interviewing you, Dolores, in person in Europe. It was lovely speaking to you again today. Thank you for taking the time, and I wish you the very best.
I hope we shared something with the people out there anyway.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure we have, and I look forward to reading the comments and seeing these videos being spread all around the world. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So tell us, I want to discuss one of your latest book, not the very latest because I didn't have time to talk about it, but you can let us know more about it. But I wanted particularly to talk about the different waves of volunteers and the new earth. And I would like to start this conversation by asking you, how do you define the new earth?
Okay, I just spent 2 hours on the radio yesterday, and that was what I talked about at that time. In my lectures, too, that I've been doing all over the world, we have been focusing on the three waves and the new earth. Okay, the earth it's going to separate into the old earth and the new earth. This is the same thing that's in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, where it talks about the new heaven and the new earth. That's what it means. The only problem is whenever John wrote the book of Revelation, he had the vision out on the Isle of Patmos about that, the new heaven and the new earth. He didn't know it was going to be thousands of years before it would happen. But the earth is a living being. You know that. Everything has consciousness. Everything is alive. The earth is a living being. And it is getting ready to go into its new incarnation. And it has incarnations just like people do. It just takes it longer to do it. But it's getting ready to move into another dimension. And in order to do that, it has to change its vibrations and its frequencies to shift into another dimension. Now, it's going to do it regardless. But if we want to go with it, we have to change our vibrations and our frequencies also in order to move with the earth. It doesn't care if we go or not. It would be just as happy if we didn't go. But look what we're doing to this beautiful planet. We're like fleas on a dog. It would much rather we didn't go. But if we do want to go with it, we have to. And during any spare time I had at all, it was back at the hotel room working on that book. And so we were sending it chapter at a time back to the office to get it ready. So my whole time has been working. This is my only downtime, my relaxing time is since I got back for the holidays.
Yeah, and
we got it. Convoluted 4. It just came out last week, so that's 2 books in 1 year.
Amazing. And you've been traveling all around the world. You have all this energy to write more books and to travel and teach people. Where do you find all this juice from?
Well, it's the way, it's my work. That's what I do, because I'm also, I'm teaching everyone.
Yeah.
Have classes everywhere. And in February, I go to China. I'll be doing a class in Shanghai. So that's why in another month I'll be on the road again.
So
Okay.
hello, Dolores.
Hello, Lilu.
How are you doing today?
Well, we're getting ready for the holidays, but I don't know when this is going to air. It may air after Christmas.
It's going to air very shortly. Actually, tomorrow it'll be already online on YouTube, all over the place. Our last video, Dolores, had over 82,000 views. I know a lot of people are watching, will be watching this video all around the world, so I'm very excited, and I feel this is important information to get out. I know you have a latest book, another book that just came out. Is that your number 16 or 17?
17 books now. The first time I've written 2 books in 1 year. And I spent the last 5 months traveling all over the world and doing my classes and lectures to change our vibration and frequencies to match it so that we can move into the other dimension. This is a very exciting time to be alive. This is a very momentous occasion. This is the only time in the history of the universe that an entire planet has moved into another dimension. We go back and forth between dimensions all the time, but this is the first time that an entire planet is going to move into another dimension. So it's a very exciting time for the whole cosmos, and they're watching all of this. They're trying to see, if they say it's the greatest show on earth, can we do it? Are we going to be able to pull it off?
What does the planet need for this birthing to happen?
It's not a reversing, it's a separating.
It's a separation. Yeah, you're one of the person that says it's going to literally separate physically.
Yes. From the old earth and the new earth. And